Chosen one, stop right here. Do not scroll past this. God did not let this message cross your path by accident. Something is about to hit you hard today, but not the way fear whispered it would. This is not destruction. This is not punishment. This is not heaven turning against you. Listen with your whole spirit. The impact has already started. You felt it before this message found you. It came as pressure in your chest. It came as a strange heaviness behind your eyes. And even while you tried to act normal, something inside you knew this day was carrying a different weight. You may have woken up tired, for no clear reason. Your body moved, but your spirit felt delayed. You answered messages. You handled what had to be handled. But under every small task, there was a quiet pressure, like heaven had placed its finger on a hidden part of you and refused to let you ignore it. That is why you are here. Not because the world is ending. Not because God is angry with you. Not because you missed your final chance. You are here because something false inside your life is about to crack. And the cracking will feel intense because you have carried it for too long. I need you to understand this before fear tries to interpret it for you. When God says something will hit you hard, the enemy wants you to imagine loss. He wants you to imagine bad news. He wants you to brace for pain. But heaven is not speaking the language of panic over you today. This impact is different. It will hit your excuses. It will hit your numbness. It will hit the version of you that learned to survive quietly while calling that survival peace. And when it lands, you may cry. Not because something is being taken, but because something buried is being touched again. Do not dismiss that. Your spirit is not becoming cold. Your discernment is becoming loud. The part of you that used to tolerate everything for the sake of peace is being confronted by the part of you that knows peace without truth is just a beautiful cage. This is why today feels different. God is not only changing what surrounds you, He is changing what you can no longer carry. He is changing what you can no longer pretend not to know. And that kind of change hits hard, because it does not ask permission from the old version of you. Chosen one, you have been asking for a sign, but you expected the sign to feel gentle. You expected it to arrive like comfort. You expected a soft confirmation, a calm feeling, a perfect open door. But sometimes the answer arrives as pressure strong enough to make you finally stop lying to yourself. Stay with me. I am going to show you what is hitting you today, why it had to happen now, and why it will not come in the form you expected. But first, you must stop calling this heaviness random. You must stop treating this pressure like a mood you need to escape. There is a reason you feel like your spirit is standing at the edge of something. There is a reason you keep sensing that a chapter is ending, even if nothing obvious has happened yet. Heaven often moves inside you before anything shifts around you, because the outer door cannot hold what the inner person refuses to become. That is the part most people miss. They pray for the door, they pray for the call, they pray for the money, the answer, the apology, the relocation, the breakthrough. But God often strikes the inner agreement first, because the blessing cannot land safely on a mind still married to yesterday. And today, that limit is being touched. Not gently, not vaguely, not from a distance. It is being touched with holy precision. God knows exactly where the false belief is sitting. He knows where you learned to shrink. He knows where you started expecting less, so disappointment would not hurt as much. You called it wisdom, but some of it was fear wearing mature clothes. You called it patience, but some of it was delay hiding behind spiritual language. You called it humility, but some of it was the wound that told you not to take up space, not to ask again, not to believe too boldly. That is what will hit you hard. Not a storm sent to destroy you, not a loss sent to break you, but a truth sent to remove the agreement you made with smallness. It will hit because God is not negotiating with the cage anymore, and neither can you. Do you feel that? That quiet, trembling inside. That is not anxiety alone. That is your spirit recognizing a sentence heaven already spoke over you. You are not the person your delays tried to convince you to become. You are not the version your enemies adjusted to. You are not the shadow of your calling. You are still chosen. You are still marked. You are still carrying a weight the enemy could not erase. And the reason this message found you today is because God is interrupting the story before you make another agreement with the lie that nothing is changing. That emptiness is not failure, it is separation. God is separating your appetite from what once kept you occupied. He is making old noise lose its flavor. He is making false peace lose its charm. And when old comfort stops working, it is usually because new authority is being born. This is why the enemy has been trying to make you tired. Not just physically tired, spiritually tired, decision tired, prayer tired, hope tired. He has been trying to make you so exhausted that when the truth finally comes, you mistake it for pressure instead of invitation. But hear this clearly. The pressure is not here to crush you. The pressure is here to locate you. It is showing you exactly where your spirit has outgrown your current agreement. It is showing you where you have been saying yes with your mouth, while your soul has been begging for release. Heaven has been visiting the places you buried, the places you decided were too painful to revisit, the places where you stopped expecting good things because hoping became too expensive. And now God is touching those places, not to shame you, but to pull the real you out from under the survival pattern. This message is not for everyone. It is for the one who has felt a strange pressure today and tried to keep moving anyway. It is for the one who smiled while carrying a silent ache. It is for the one who keeps sensing that a divine interruption is near, but cannot name what is coming. Right now, comment 777 if your spirit knows this is speaking to you, not as performance, not as a public display. Let it be a simple agreement that you are listening. Let it be a mark in the ground that says, I will not run from the truth just because it hits hard. Because the truth is this: God is not trying to frighten you today. He is trying to wake you before the next door opens. If your inner world remains attached to the old story, the next blessing would feel too heavy to hold. So heaven is hitting the root before it reveals the fruit. Stay close. The next part will go deeper. You are about to see why this impact is not an attack, why your heaviness is not proof that something is wrong, and why the very thing you feared may be the first sign that your awakening has already begun. Chosen one, now that you have felt the pressure, you need to understand what it means. This is not an attack. This is not heaven turning cold. This is not God warning you that disaster is coming. What you are feeling is the first shock of awakening. The enemy wants you to call it anxiety. He wants you to call it a bad day. He wants you to rush past it, numb it, explain it away, or bury it under noise. But the weight you feel today is too precise to be random, because it is touching the exact place where you stopped believing. You thought the heaviness meant something was wrong, but sometimes heaviness is the pressure of birth. Sometimes the spirit feels squeezed because a new version of you is trying to come forward while the old version is still holding the door shut. That is why the normal things feel strange now. The conversations that used to distract you no longer satisfy you. The old entertainment feels empty. The familiar routines feel smaller. Even certain people feel louder than before, not because they changed, but because your discernment is waking up. This is what happens when God begins to separate you from a frequency you outgrew. You do not always feel inspired at first. Sometimes you feel irritated. Sometimes you feel tired of pretending. Sometimes you feel like your soul is rejecting rooms your body is still standing in. And I want to say something early, with honesty and care. There is a reason this message about clarity, pressure, and lost spiritual sharpness matters so deeply. I will speak more about it later, but I do not want to hide the anchor that connects to this restoration. There is a sound-based protocol called the Genius Song. It was created for people who feel like their inner sharpness went quiet, like the mind that once moved with light became foggy, delayed, and heavy. It uses brain entrainment to help guide the mind back toward Gamma. the brainwave connected with clarity, intuition, and flow. I am not saying this to pull you away from the message. Stay here. Let the truth land first. But if your spirit already recognizes that your fog, your delay, and your lost sense of inner guidance are connected, the verified access is in the description and pinned comment. Do not rush. Do not move from pressure into panic. The deeper reason will become clear as we keep going, because the tool only matters when you understand what was taken from you and why God is calling it back now. Chosen one. The pain was never proof that you were abandoned. It was proof that something holy inside you could no longer survive in a life built around old permission. You kept asking God to change the outside, but heaven was touching the agreement inside you first. That agreement was quiet. It did not sound dramatic. It sounded like maybe this is all I get. It sounded like I should not expect too much. It sounded like I should be grateful for crumbs, because disappointment hurts worse when hope is loud. But God heard that agreement. He heard the sentences you never said out loud. He heard the way you lowered your expectations so people would not call you unrealistic. He saw the way you stopped asking for confirmation because too many delays made you feel foolish. Now the impact is hitting that place. Not to embarrass you, not to expose you before people, not to make you feel weak. It is hitting the hidden contract between your wounded heart and your limited future, because heaven never signed that contract. You did, but you did it while you were tired. You did it while you were betrayed. You did it while you were trying to protect the last soft part of yourself from another disappointment. And God has compassion for that, but He will not let your wound write your destiny. That is why this does not feel comfortable. The old you wants comfort. The real you wants truth. Comfort keeps everything familiar. Truth breaks what has been familiar for too long. Comfort says, stay safe. Truth says, rise, even if your knees shake. Today, truth is louder than comfort. That is the hit. It is the sound of heaven refusing to whisper to a spirit that has been ignoring gentle signs for too long. God already sent the soft signs. He sent the repeated numbers. He sent the dreams. He sent the restless nights. He sent the strange separations. He sent the sudden loss of interest in places you once begged to belong. He sent the quiet pull to be alone. He sent the inner knowing that you could not explain. But you kept asking if it was really Him. So now the message comes with weight. It comes with force. It comes with a holy interruption that does not let you keep scrolling through your own life. You are not being punished for missing the earlier signs. You are being loved enough to receive a louder one. There is a difference between being attacked and being awakened. An attack steals your strength and leaves you empty. An awakening shakes what is false and leaves your spirit sharper. An attack brings confusion. An awakening may feel intense, but underneath it, there is a strange sense of recognition. That is why part of you is afraid, but another part of you feels seen. That is why this message feels heavy, but also familiar. It is not telling you something brand new. It is giving words to what your spirit has been trying to tell you for months. You have outgrown the old pace. You have outgrown the old tolerance. You have outgrown the version of you that could sit in spiritual noise and call it normal. The pressure is not here because you failed. The pressure is here because the old container cannot hold the next assignment. Do not be surprised if your emotions rise while you listen. Let them rise. Do not be surprised if your chest feels tight, or your eyes water, or your mind starts bringing up decisions you avoided. That is not weakness. That is stored truth coming to the surface. For a long time, you carried more than you admitted. You carried other people's moods. You carried family expectations. You carried the fear of being misunderstood. You carried prayers that seemed unanswered, while still trying to look faithful enough for everyone around you. And because you carried so much, your inner signal became buried under responsibility. You were still chosen, but you were tired. You were still marked, but you were foggy. You were still gifted, but the noise around you kept pressing your gift into silence. This is where many chosen ones misunderstand the season. They think silence means God is absent. They think fatigue means they are weak. They think delay means rejection. But in the kingdom, silence can be separation, fatigue can be transition, and delay can be preparation before sudden acceleration. God did not forget your name in the waiting. He was pulling false attachments off your spirit. He was letting certain doors stay closed because the version of you knocking on them was still too willing to abandon yourself once you got inside. That is why some opportunities did not open. That is why some relationships became uncomfortable. That is why certain plans kept collapsing, no matter how carefully you tried to hold them together. The collapse was not always the enemy. Sometimes it was mercy wearing the shape of disruption. If God had allowed you to enter the next season with the old frequency, you would have called survival success. You would have accepted a smaller room because it looked safer than the open field. You would have kept shrinking in places that celebrated your usefulness but feared your authority. So heaven interrupted the pattern. Heaven made the old reward feel empty. Heaven made the old approval lose its sweetness. Heaven made the old fear feel unbearable. This is not cruelty, this is rescue. God is making it impossible for you to remain loyal to what reduced you. There is something about your spirit that was never designed to live under constant inner fog. You were not created to second-guess every instruction. You were not created to drag yourself through every day like your calling is a burden. You were created to hear, move, obey, and stand with clarity. That clarity is part of what is returning. But when clarity returns, confusion gets exposed. When light comes back, the clutter becomes visible. When a sleeping gift wakes up, the life built around the sleeping version starts to shake. That shaking is the reason this message hits hard. It is not just encouraging you. It is confronting the structure that kept you manageable. It is confronting the fear that taught you to ask for less. It is confronting the fog that made you forget what your spirit used to know. Think back to the child you once were. There was a time when you learned quickly. You sensed things before people explained them. You noticed energy in rooms. You understood what others were hiding. You had moments of strange brilliance that adults could not always explain. Then, life got louder. School trained you to repeat instead of perceive. Pain trained you to protect instead of trust. Disappointment trained you to lower your voice. And slowly, the bright inner signal that once felt natural began to feel distant, like a language you used to speak in dreams. But God did not lose that part of you. Heaven did not misplace your gift. The gift went dormant, under pressure, noise, and survival. And now the same God who watched you carry the fog is calling the clarity back to the surface. This is why the hit is not coming the way you expected. You expected God to hit your enemies. You expected Him to hit the people who lied. You expected Him to hit the closed door, the delayed money, the unanswered message, the situation that made you feel powerless. But God is hitting something deeper first. He is hitting the inner veil. He is hitting the fog that made you doubt your own discernment. He is hitting the agreement that said you must stay small to stay safe. He is hitting the fear that made ordinary look holy. Because once that veil tears, everything changes. You start seeing what you ignored. You start hearing what you dismissed. You start recognizing why certain people drained you. You start understanding why certain doors were delayed and why your spirit never had peace even when the situation looked good. This is not a small moment. This is a dividing line. Before today, you may have treated your heaviness like a private problem. After today, you must see it as a signal. Something in you is being summoned out of the fog and back into divine alignment. Do not resist the impact. Let it strike the lie. Let it strike the numbness. Let it strike the version of you that kept asking for another confirmation while ignoring the confirmations already given. You are not being broken down for nothing. You are being broken open for restoration. And in the next part, I need you to stay even closer. Because now that you know this is not an attack, I am going to show you the exact part of your identity God is hitting today, and why that hidden place has been controlling more of your life than you realized. Chosen one, stay with me now. The pressure has been named, but the deeper truth has not been opened yet. God is not hitting the surface of your life first. He is not starting with the people around you. He is hitting the hidden place inside you that learned to survive by becoming smaller. This is the holy confrontation, not the kind that humiliates you, not the kind that exposes you for people to judge. This is the kind that happens when heaven loves you too much to let a wounded version of you keep leading a chosen life. You wanted God to confront your enemies. You wanted him to confront the ones who lied, delayed, drained, and misunderstood you. But God saw where their rejection became your agreement, and where betrayal taught you to expect little and call that wisdom. That is what he is hitting today. He is hitting the quiet contract you made with fear after disappointment became too familiar. He is hitting the part of you that decided it was safer to be useful than to be powerful. Do not turn away from this. The enemy does not only attack your blessing, he attacks your ability to recognize yourself before the blessing arrives. Because if he can make you believe you are ordinary, you will treat divine doors like accidents when they open. This is why your delay has been so confusing. It was not only about timing, it was about identity. You were not waiting only for the door. The door was waiting for the version of you who could walk through it without apologizing for being chosen. Moses did not meet his assignment while feeling ready. He met it while questioning his voice. He saw the sign, but still looked at his weakness. He heard the call, but still measured himself by what he thought he lacked. And that is where many chosen ones are right now. You hear something calling you forward, but you keep measuring yourself by the wound. You keep saying you need more proof, more confidence, more time, while heaven is saying, I already called you. So listen carefully. The part of you that feels unready is not always evidence that you are not called. Sometimes it is evidence that the calling has finally reached the layer of you that fear was guarding. This is why the impact hits hard. It is not hitting your worth. It is hitting the mask. It is not hitting your destiny. It is hitting the survival script that kept pretending to be your personality. It is not hitting your future. It is hitting the false ceiling over your faith. You have called yourself tired for so long that you almost forgot you were also anointed. You have called yourself sensitive for so long that you forgot sensitivity can be discernment. You have called yourself delayed for so long that you almost forgot preparation is not rejection. But today, God is separating those words. He is dividing what came from him from what came from pain. He is showing you the difference between humility and hiding, patience and paralysis, wisdom and fear. There is a version of you that learned to disappear in order to stay loved. That version studied the room. It adjusted the voice. It swallowed the truth. It kept the peace by abandoning the self. And for a season, that version helped you survive. But survival is not your throne. Survival is not your promised land. Survival is not the final name over your life. It may have carried you through the wilderness, but it cannot lead you into authority. God is not angry at the part of you that protected you, but he will not let protection become a prison. He can comfort the survivor and still confront the survivor when the survivor refuses to move. That sentence is for you. Your history is not prophecy. Your pain is not prophecy. Your delay is not prophecy. The way they treated you is not prophecy. God has the final word, and today that word is hitting the lie. This is where the enemy gets nervous. He does not mind if you believe in God in a vague way. He does not mind if you pray while still seeing yourself as defeated. He only panics when your identity catches up with your assignment, and you stop calling fog normal. For months, maybe years, your mind has carried a strange heaviness. You could still function, you could still smile, but something inside felt slower than it used to feel. Then life became loud, pressure became constant, betrayal made you guarded, responsibility made you heavy. Slowly, the bright signal inside you became buried under noise, until you began to think the fog was just who you were now. But that fog is not your name. It is not your nature. The Genius song was mentioned earlier because this message is not only about emotion, it is also about restoration of the inner signal that was pressed down by years of noise. I will return to that anchor in the next part. But first you must understand this. A tool cannot restore what a person is still afraid to admit was taken. And God is hitting that fear today, because you cannot reclaim clarity while defending the fog that became familiar. That is why this confrontation feels sharp. It is touching the part of you that knows. You know who drains you. You know what habit keeps pulling you backward. You know which dream still calls your name. You know which instruction you keep delaying, because obedience would change everything. The hit is holy because it breaks the agreement without breaking you. It tells the truth without destroying your dignity. It exposes the cage without mocking the person who had to live inside it. God is taking the crown off your wound. That is the moment. That is the strike. That is the impact. The wound taught you patterns, but it is not allowed to rule your calling. The wound explained your caution, but it does not get to define your capacity. You are not being asked to become reckless. You are being called to become awake. Reckless ignores wisdom. Awake hears God more clearly than fear. Reckless moves to prove something. Awake moves because the instruction has become too clear to deny. This is the confrontation. God is asking, will you remain loyal to the version of you that pain created, or will you agree with the version of you that heaven named? Not later, not someday, not when everyone understands. The decision begins in the inner world today. Stay with me. Once the false identity cracks, heaven does not leave you empty. In the next part, I will show you the anchor connected to this restoration, why your clarity matters, and why the fog that has followed you does not have to follow you into the next season. Because the moment you stop defending the old identity, your spirit can hear again. The next door will not require the old fog. It will require the clear version of you that God is raising now. Chosen one, now we have reached the anchor. Earlier, I named the Genius song briefly, but I did not explain why it matters here. I waited, because you had to understand the wound first. A tool means nothing when the heart still thinks the fog is normal. This is not about chasing another shortcut. This is about restoration. Many chosen ones are not weak, lazy, or broken. They are carrying a buried signal. They remember being sharper once, more sensitive once, more alive once. But somewhere along the road, the light inside began to feel distant. That loss is not imaginary. When you were younger, your mind could move quickly. You learned patterns, you felt rooms, you sensed truth before people said it. What the world called strange, heaven called sensitivity, and what science names gamma was often moving through you as clarity, intuition, and flow. Then life pressed on you. School rewarded repetition more than perception. Pain made you guarded. Betrayal made you careful. Noise became constant. And slowly, the inner signal that once felt bright became buried under survival, responsibility, disappointment, and fear. That is why the hit today matters. God is not only touching your emotions, He is touching the place where clarity was covered. He is calling back the part of you that could hear before the world taught you to doubt every instruction. The Genius song was created around this restoration principle. It is a 7-minute digital audio track used with headphones, built around brain entrainment to guide the mind toward gamma. Not hype, not a show, not another routine that demands hours from a person already exhausted. Dr. Robert Lake spent 34 years studying the brain and the patterns connected to clarity, intuition, and flow. Research from places like MIT, Princeton, Harvard, and other leading research universities has pointed to these states, but most people were never taught how to access them simply. Picture a man who had been out of work for almost 2 years. He was 51. He was not unskilled. But every interview felt like fog. The words came late. The confidence that once felt natural had become distant. After using the genius song for 11 days, he received his first real offer. It was better than the position he had lost. But what moved him most was not only the job. He said the change happened inside his head before it appeared on paper. That matters because many of you understand that pain. You know what it feels like to have ability without access. You know what it feels like to carry gifts that refuse to move when you need them. You know what it feels like to pray and still feel mentally blocked. This is why I do not frame the genius song as a product for everyone. It is not for people who want noise. It is for those who recognize that something God-given has been dormant inside them. It is for the one who says, "My clarity did not die, it got buried." More than 18,366 people have used it, and the refund rate is framed under 4%. That means the number is not only large, it carries a quality signal. Most people who step into it continue with it after the protection window. And I know the objections rising in your mind. Maybe you have tried meditation. Maybe you tried spiritual retreats. Maybe you paid for courses, journals, apps, prayers, routines, and still woke up with the same heaviness. This is not another demand for you to force yourself harder. A meditation app can cost around $15 every month. A growth course can cost $100 to $200. A retreat can cost $400 to $800. One therapy session can cost around $150, and still none of these are designed to target gamma specifically. Dr. Lake compressed this restoration work into one 7-minute audio track. The original access was $49, but for viewers connected to this message, it is available for $39 as a one-time access, not a monthly subscription, and not a hidden plan. And the value does not stop with the audio. You also receive 4 bonuses with a total value of $80. Genius Child is valued at $19. Classic Book is valued at $20. Guided Visualization is valued at $29. And the 5-habit infographic is valued at $12. There is also a guarantee. You can use it for 90 days. If it does not feel right for you, you can ask for your money back. No complicated return is needed because it is digital, and you keep the full $80 in bonuses as an apology for your time. That removes the fear of loss. The only real question left is not whether $39 is too much for a sound. The deeper question is whether you are willing to give your mind 7 minutes a day to remember the clarity that pressure tried to bury. Now listen carefully, because this part matters. There are fake pages and imitation audios using the name Genius Song. Some are just ordinary sounds with spiritual language placed on top. They do not carry the same brain entrainment structure, and they do not include the full bonus set or protection. Do not search for it on Amazon. Do not search for it on YouTube. Do not search for it on Spotify. If this is speaking to your spirit, use only the verified access placed in the description and the pinned comment under this video. I am telling you that to protect you, not to pressure you. Chosen one, when something holy is connected to restoration, counterfeit versions often appear. The enemy loves almost truth, almost access, almost healing, but almost cannot carry what God is restoring in you. Now pause for a moment. Place one hand over your chest. Breathe slowly. This is not a decision about whether a price is small or large. This is a decision about whether you believe the fog is your future or whether God is calling your clarity back. Breathe again. Let your spirit answer before fear starts negotiating. If something inside you says yes, not loudly, but deeply, then you already know where the door is. The verified link is in the description and the pinned comment. The urgency is not commercial, it is spiritual. If heaven sent this message today, then today matters. You do not have to carry yesterday fog into tomorrow and call it patience. You do not have to keep praying for clarity while refusing the anchor placed in front of you. The Genius Song is not your God. It is not your savior. It does not replace prayer, obedience, or the voice of heaven. It is simply an anchor, a 7-minute signal that can support the mind while the spirit rises back into alignment. So if this confirms what you already sensed, go to the description or pinned comment and use the verified access. Receive the original audio, receive the bonuses, and receive the 90-day protection. Step through only if your spirit recognizes the timing. And do not leave yet. The next part is where we seal what God has awakened. Because a door can be shown to you, but a declaration helps your spirit agree with the version of you that is no longer willing to live under fog. Chosen one, do not rush away now. The impact has been named. The anchor has been placed before you. But the final work is not information. The final work is agreement. Because what God awakens in you must be sealed by the words you choose to release. What hit you today was not destruction, it was recognition. It was God touching the part of you that stopped believing it could rise again. It was heaven placing a holy weight on the hidden place where your clarity, courage, and obedience had been sleeping under survival. You may still feel pressure. Let it be there. You may still feel emotion rising in your chest. Let it rise. That feeling is not proof that you are unstable. It is proof that the old shell is cracking and the real you is breathing again. For too long, you tried to stay calm by staying small. You tried to protect your peace by lowering your expectation. You tried to avoid disappointment by asking God for less than what your spirit truly knew was possible. But today, that agreement is losing power. God did not hit you to shame you. He hit the lie that made you think silence was your destiny. He hit the fog that made you doubt your own discernment. He hit the fear that told you to wait forever before becoming who heaven already named. Now the old story cannot hold you the same way. You have heard too much truth. You have felt too much recognition. The part of you that wanted to hide can no longer pretend it did not hear heaven calling your name through the pressure. Honor the version of you that survived. Thank it for carrying you. But do not crown it. Survival helped you cross the wilderness. But survival cannot sit on the throne of your future while God is calling the chosen version of you forward. Place your attention on your breath. Slow down inside. You do not need to perform for this moment. You do not need to prove anything to anyone listening. Heaven already knows the weight you carried when no one clapped, noticed, or understood. Say this in your spirit. I release the old frequency. I release the fear that made me shrink. I release the agreement that told me delay was my identity. I release every false piece that required me to abandon my own clarity. Say it again, deeper. I am not being destroyed. I am being awakened. I am not being punished. I am being restored. I am not losing myself. I am returning to the version of me God protected under the noise. The next 24 to 72 hours will not need to look dramatic to be real. Watch for clarity. Watch for calm. Watch for a decision that suddenly feels obvious. Watch for the moment your spirit refuses to chase what used to drain it. Chosen one, you were not forgotten. You were covered. You were not buried. You were hidden. You were not delayed because heaven lost interest in you. You were delayed because the old container could not carry the new authority safely. But now the container is changing. Your appetite is changing. Your tolerance is changing. Your spiritual hearing is changing. What once looked normal will start feeling heavy, and what once felt impossible will begin feeling strangely near. Do not be afraid of that shift. New clarity can feel sharp at first. New peace can feel unfamiliar. New obedience can feel lonely before it feels powerful. But this is how a chosen one crosses from surviving the season into carrying the assignment. You are not here to repeat old cycles. You are not here to keep proving your worth to people committed to misunderstanding your light. You are here to obey, to discern, to carry authority, and to break the agreement your bloodline made with fear. So let it hit. Let the truth hit the lie. Let the light hit the fog. Let the voice of God hit every inner sentence that told you not to expect too much. Let it break what was false, without making you afraid of being free. This is not the end of your story. This is the end of your loyalty to the smaller one. The old version may still try to speak, but it no longer gets the final vote. Fear may still knock, but it no longer owns the room. From this moment forward, you do not call heaviness normal when God is giving you a signal. You do not call fog your personality when clarity is your inheritance. You do not call shrinking wisdom when heaven is calling you into holy boldness. Now speak this over yourself. I receive the clarity God restored. I receive the courage to obey quickly. I receive the peace that does not require pretending. I receive the strength to leave what drains me and enter what aligns me. I receive the return of my inner signal. I receive discernment without fear. I receive wisdom without paralysis. I receive favor without shrinking. I receive restoration without apologizing for the person God is raising up in me. Some people will call this distance. Some will call it pride. Some will say, you changed. Let them speak. You are not becoming cold. You are becoming clear. And clarity often offends those who benefited from your confusion. This is why the comment you leave matters. Not because the comment saves you. Not because a word on a screen replaces obedience. But because agreement can become a mark in the ground. A moment where you stop hiding from what your spirit knows. If this message hit you, comment, awakened. Let that one word stand as your agreement. Let it say, the old fog does not own me. Let it say, I heard the warning and received the restoration. Let it say, I will not run from truth because it arrived with weight. And if this channel has become a place where your spirit receives confirmation, stay connected. Subscribe, not as a habit, but as a decision to keep hearing the kind of messages that call you back when the world tries to pull you into sleep again. But above every tool, remember this. God is the source. Heaven is the covering. Obedience is the path. The anchor may support your clarity, but the voice that called you today is the same voice that will lead you after the pressure lifts. You are not leaving this message the same. Something has already shifted. Even if your room looks the same, your inner agreement does not. Even if nothing around you has moved yet, something within you has stopped bowing to the old frequency. Chosen one, God said it would hit you hard today. Now you know why. It hit hard because truth had to break through the fog. It hit hard because the false version had to loosen its grip. It hit hard because heaven was not willing to whisper while your destiny was waiting. You were not hit to be harmed. You were hit to be awakened. You were not pressed to be crushed. You were pressed to be revealed. Walk forward with clarity. Walk forward with obedience. Walk forward knowing that what touched you today was not an ending, but the sound of restoration beginning.